Hello and welcome everyone to episode 181 of One Piece at a Time, the One Piece read-through podcast where we read and discuss 5 chapters of the One Piece manga each and every week. I'm your host, Derrick, and I'm joined by my wonderful co-host and freelance letterer, Brandon Bovia. How you doing, Brandon?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm, of course, freelance letterer extraordinaire, Brandon Bovia, and, I'm really curious about this discussion that we're about to have today.
So we're taking a break from the manga because it's time to go back to the movies, because right around the time that right between chapters 822 and 833, the next One Piece movie released, Film Gold. And in terms of when it happened in the anime, is right between episodes 750 and 751, which typically is like, oh God, where is that at? But much like Film Z, it had its own mini arc, mini filler arc that happened right before that, which actually takes place directly after Dressrosa and before Zoe. It is smack dab in the middle. So this is kind of perfect there, that this is just right before you go to Zoe, as far as that's concerned. Though, of course, there's no way this can actually happen.
Oh, yes. We're in the middle of, trying to get Sanji back as far as the manga is concerned. Which is funny, because this movie, does acknowledge that Dressrosa happens, but, and it's for all intents and purposes, like, could not happen without the events of Dressrosa, but clearly cannot take place immediately after it. So, you know what? That's fine. I think they took the right approach of like, just sort of roll with it.
We have here's where things take place, so you know where their power set's at. Let's go from there and just have a fun thing. And the thing is, you could probably take this and slot it into whenever the crew's all together again, but that's probably not until like after Wano at this point, and things are very different at that point. So yeah, this is probably the right choice, especially because it's a treat. It's a treat to have all the Straw Hats together in this case.
Yeah, you wouldn't want a movie that was just like, well, here's, it's like, what if they encountered the ship about, we have half the Straw Hats and Carrot and Pedro.
Yeah. We have the samurai with us and that whole deal. It's like, no, it's just the Straw Hats.
Keep it clean. I think that's the right call.
Very much in the same way that we didn't really have Vivi with them for a lot of the movies around that time.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, I feel like the old movies really, they, up to a point, they didn't really care where they took place, because it kind of, I think, especially nowadays, as one thing you'll find with the time skip, there's a lot less like downtime, I feel like, in between arcs, just because it is so much kind of going boom 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 boom. Whereas definitely pre-time skip, certainly pre-Saboti, like, you could just be like, all right, here's this random shenanigans that the Straw Hats have gotten up to. So, it's a lot, I guess, a lot less tight in that way. We're going to talk about Film Gold.
Yes. And I think there's a lot to talk about with this movie. Like, it is, there's some, like, it feels like the type of movie it is changes every half hour.
Yes, it is a really ambitious movie, which I clocked that, and I was like, I actually really respect that about this movie. Kind of watching it again.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you see, all I knew about it is like, oh, it's casino related. It's sort of like they're going to something like that, but then you see what Tesoro is all about, and it's just the glitz and the glam and the Vegas production, and like, oh good God, that animation's very smooth in the beginning. Oh God, that's a lot of CG, so much more CG than we've ever seen before up to this point. Yeah. Oh good God, we have the full-on production number. Like, holy crap, there's so much ambition.
This movie feels like it had a budget. It feels like it had a really big budget.
There is a massive budget to this thing.
Yeah, and I feel like the thing that I really get the sense of that with is sort of the setting of Gran Tesoro itself. You know, you like this giant like city-sized ship that is basically, you know, it's super Las Vegas. But it feels like out of all of the One Piece movies, it might have just like the most like built out setting. You know, I feel like we in terms of locale, like I feel like that stuff kind of tends to take a backseat to kind of like, oh, we've got a guy to fight, or you know, they're so much more like plot focused, that I really liked. That it really captured this One Piece feel of being in a new location and learning about it, and of course, you know, kind of I feel like not unintentionally that this movie has a lot of parallels to Dressrosa. So it's like you get there and everything's all fun and games, and then sort of the darker underbelly starts to really show.
Yeah, but the funny thing is that it's a casino. I already felt the dark underbelly as soon as they were starting to offer up money. I was like, oh, I don't trust this at all about what's going on there.
Yeah, very much so.
It is, yeah. It is like it just goes right for it too. Like it starts out with Tesoro demonstrating that he has gold powers, which that makes sense. To having that opening number with Karina doing the concert, and then the Straw Hats arrive. It's no like trying to find some way to get them to go there. Nope, they just arrived at this island, happened to be there. Kind of works out. The timing doesn't matter at all. It just, you know, there's nothing special going on right now. This is just how it always is. So I like that there's not anything like you know, too crazy happening with any of this. And it's just it goes from a casino movie to a heist movie to a just tons of it, and then just pure action at the end. I honestly really enjoyed it, just in an overall sense.
I'm glad
what it does.
It feels like to me, you know, you're talking about the setting earlier, but like I kind of feel like it might be the most like unique One Piece movie. Just in terms, because it's not pure action, you know, like Z feels very much like it's like Z is a very tense movie. It's you know, very much about kind of like building out the story that is kind of building off of stuff from the canon, and Gold has that. We'll get there. But like I think just like with the setting and, you know, the themes of, you know, of wealth and greed, and how that kind of ends up, you know, that ends up putting the Straw Hats in the situation where like, oh no, you know, we're in debt slavery, and we're gonna have to try to pull a fast one on the guy running it all. Like it, I think the fact that it doesn't really have any fights until the final act, I like for a One Piece movie, I think is actually quite telling.
Yeah, and the way it uses the cast is also different. Like Zoro's benched for most of this movie.
Yes,
is not a bad choice. It you know, it doesn't feel like Sanji gets much of a focus on it, and you know, there's not like really fights or anything like that, but till the very, very end. But the way all of them get sort of highlighted is a lot of fun. Like I'd say once again, Chopper doesn't really stand out too much. He's just sort of there. But I think that's the thing. A lot of them is sort of in the background for most of it. It's just sort of its own thing where each of them have just enough that you're aware that they're there. They do their thing. It doesn't, but it doesn't feel like they're like any are left behind in any real way.
Yeah.
I feel like certain cast, you know, members of the crew get a little bit more like jokes and stuff like that than others. Brooke probably gave me the biggest laugh of the movie.
Brooke, they get Brooke's humor very well here in a way that like there's not one single like "can I see your panties" joke, which is like kind of incredible actually.
And that considering the amount of butts that we have in this movie, good God,
that's probably what you need to ask.
And Sanji was pretty well reined in, because I think I commented to you as like my takeaways from this is CG, Butts and like classic anime references was what I was
Yeah,
really
yeah,
getting
yeah.
at.
No, there's a lot of butts in this movie, and not necessarily all of not necessarily just women either.
Yeah, we got a full like we got to see Tesoro's butt. We got to see
Yeah.
I forget the
Is
other
that
character's
close up
butt.
of Frankie's butt?
Yeah, we get Frankie's butt.
Yeah, Frankie. He's got a good butt shot.
Yeah, like I like when he was in the tub, I was honestly expecting him to come out wearing trunks because the girls were wearing swimsuits, but he comes out and it's just man ass. I'm like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. Not only that, and that's the best part is that it's like it's also a storytelling device because that's when you see the star on his back, and that's
Yeah.
when I had forgotten a lot about like Tesoro's backstory, and I was like, oh, he was a slave, wasn't he? That's what this is, isn't it?
Yeah. I didn't clock that immediately, but I did notice the big star on his back, and it's one of those things where Tesoro doesn't get the grand backstory that Z did. Which it was all about Z's backstory and what he was up to and what it was all about. You only get flashes. It never he never goes all out. You just have just enough that if you understand the world of One Piece, he had a messed up backstory, but they don't dwell on it, and it's more about how he took the wrong lessons from the world and became
took the wrong path.
Corrupt.
Yeah.
He's not redeemable either. That's just how he ended up, which is
and
its own tragedy.
I really like that. I sort of really like that approach too because I feel like how these movies, especially nowadays, especially kind of in the post Strong World era, I feel like they really do kind of focus in on telling the stories of these villains. Even if they don't necessarily have the most complex backstory. I feel like Oda and the movie teams they kind of understand that with this limited time, you're not going to really be able to add that much to the Straw Hats. Although weirdly, we're kind of 2 for 2 for Nami, getting a lot of really good characterization.
Yeah.
She had a lot of great stuff in Strong World and a lot of great stuff here. So maybe they're just characterize Nami in the movies. But I think how they choose to portray the villains is really important.
Yeah, there was Karina being an old rival of sorts of Nami's from her days as a thief. And I think that's the other thing I really enjoyed about this because it's been so long, but we get to emphasize Nami as a thief again. That is a much bigger focus here than her as a navigator or using the weather and all that. Seeing that on display here, especially somebody trying to pickpocket her, when it first happened, trying to pickpocket her was oh yeah, good luck.
Yeah,
she immediately caught them. That is such a good idea. There's a lot of really fun ideas, like Baccarat and her luck ability, which I wish they had actually taken further. Because when it was first revealed, that has so many implications, but it's a temporary thing. It turned out, which is I feel like some missed potential because they really could have built out more of the movie based around Luffy not having his signature luck. Mm-hmm. It's just a very temporary thing at the time, and then it's basically back and not really a factor.
Yeah, although it's interesting to me, I didn't really catch it until sort of the final act, where it's her luck is kind of it's an expendable resource almost.
Yeah.
She uses it and then she doesn't have it. She can take it from other people and use it for herself, but that is I thought it was it. I guess I was kind of willing to roll with it being kind of vague and nebulous, but there is sort of a weird logic to it. But yeah, I feel like they really could have dove into what drives Luffy as a character, right? In terms of it's his luck, but you could also kind of juxtapose that with he gets into the situations where he's able to rally people just because that's who he is.
Yeah.
And you sort of get that when you
determination and so forth.
Yeah. Yeah. You get a little bit of that. And I really like that scene when he and Frankie are underground and it's sort of Luffy's he's trying to get through the fan, the not very sharp fan that you can just kind of fall on and it's fine. But you have kind of these random people who are sprung into action based on seeing Luffy try, really hard. And I think there's an aspect there where you could push that as like Luffy might not have his luck, but he is still Luffy. And like that does not change who he is or his actions or, all of the things that take place in spite of it. But like I still think it's still a cool idea, regardless.
Yeah, and there's so many fun things otherwise. Like it's just a path they could have taken in the movie with that idea. It's fine that it doesn't, because we get so many things that we get a car race. I know we've had boat races before in this, but we have a car race thanks to this crazy idea of these turtles. These turtles that power the cars.
The buff turtles. Yeah. I'd forgotten, just like, man, when was the last time we got like a really weird animal? I kind of love these guys.
We get that's two weird animals in this one, between the buff turtles and the owls that act as laser guides.
And
so forth.
They're just screaming.
And it was such a fun set piece to have it be, Luffy, Chopper, and Usopp be the one in the race. It would be nice if Chopper really didn't get much to do, but seeing Usopp take the lead on that one, race the car, that was that's when I really started noticing a lot of the callbacks to other anime, because one of the other racers that they're up against is a guy named White Jack. And as soon as I saw his design, I'm like, oh, that's just Blackjack from the classic, what is, I'm blanking on his name, but the guy who made Tezuka. That one. And then when they win, the way Luffy jumps out of the car is exactly like Speed Racer.
Yep.
So like, okay, that's good on you. And there's other little fun visual nods.
The golden armor is so Saint Seiya that the Tesoro's goons have at the end.
I didn't even pick up on that one. That's another good one. But there's the cameos where we had what is it? Not Watatsumi. It was Wanze. Proposing to a girl at one point, during that race, and he gets interrupted. It's like that's good. And then during the infiltration sequence, you can see Absalom in the restaurant that the window that Frankie and Luffy keep passing by.
I had forgotten about both of those. I had forgotten that like Spandam is in this movie.
Yeah,
I did not remember that he was here at all.
Like we had the indication that Rob Lucci and Spandam were part of CP0. Just straight out, there it is. That being said, you could easily cut Lucci, Spandam, and Sabo and lose nothing in this movie.
I think the thing that makes me the most mad about that is that like I could even accept like a Sabo versus Lucci fight, like just for pure fan service. Like, it's a movie, we got the budget, like whatever, do it. The fight is off screen. What are we doing? What is the point of having them here if they're just gonna kind of like I see so it's all over then. It's just kind of like show the fight.
I don't get it, especially because like we just saw Sabo in action. It's not like the people that are watching the anime are missing this. It's like, oh man, where's Sabo at? I completely missed Sabo. I don't even know what the revolutionaries are exactly doing there, other than I guess trying to rescue the people that are in gold. And then Lucci makes a little bit more sense because they're dealing with it, and it kind of works, and it makes for a convenient way to arrest him at the end, which still showing that Lucci is still as brutal as ever. He is not. He is not a lesson. Sure. It's like, nope, bomb the civilians as well. So.
I had a funny observation. All that we've ever seen, both in the movies and in canon, like all Aka Inu has done for the whole time skip is just get yelled at by people.
And him not lose his his standing. So
yeah.
He's surprisingly less effective at Fleet Admiral than you'd think.
Yeah, which is maybe kind of the point, but it's very funny.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. But yeah, just have that whole thing of them just having that winning streak and then getting up to the secret room and slowly introducing more and more of the members of Tesoro's gang. And
Yeah.
I got a kick out of I'm blanking on his name, but the guy that his name is just Dice. the guy who
yes,
destroys bells constantly, that they ship him in. It seems so ineffective. Like it's just for showmanship. When most people there don't seem to be that impressed or intrigued by it after the first time. I think it literally is just there to get his pain rocks off, because
that's really it.
The fact that he's a masochist is pretty great.
I feel like there's a good sort of like expectations versus reality with a character like that, and I really actually really like Tesoro's group. I feel like for sort of looking for like for a villain, for them to just have like you got their goons or whatever, and like they're always they're usually pretty forgettable. But like I actually think that this movie's like set of the B tier villains are, I don't know, they're fun. And of course that you have Karina as kind of like the the mole. She's the one who kind of, she was in on it from the start, and that adds kind of an interesting element to it, that to have
sets up the whole heist part.
Yeah, and to have sort of that pre-established relationship with one of the Straw Hats already. I think that like it's such a little thing that does so much for, I think, what this movie's trying to do. And weirdly enough, the most forgettable one is the weird guy with the through power who was in the Silver Mine arc. I was like, he ended up being kind of the least interesting one, despite just looking like a weirdo.
Yeah, he's fine. He serves his purpose, but he doesn't stand out in any real way.
He's the most movie like. He's definitely the most movie like character of the bunch.
Yeah. But yeah, that whole thing where they get taken in, it's like, oh, they're this is how they get slaves. It's like, Nami, you had to realize this. Like, you can't. Like, I think she was blinded by all the gold and whatnot. They try to pull this. Though the explanation of Tesoro's powers and the fact that covering them in gold dust when they first get in, so he can just has control of everybody in that city on that giant ship, is a cool reveal. Having Zoro be the one getting taken down, that whole thing. Is pretty great, and you get just enough of like kids and so forth, that like, because a lot of the older movies love to have kids, like some random kid that Luffy needs the help, and they're here, but they're not a big deal. It's enough to show just like I
once we kind of learned that Tesoro was basically got like he had found love that had been taken away from him by the celestial dragons, and then he himself became a slave, but then like that sort of tragedy ended up fueling his desire for greed and his desire for richness and his desire to almost like he's got like a god complex by the end, and just like he has such a desire to become like to overcome it all, like to be above it all, and to really show that like he I feel like his fundamental philosophy that like money is kind of power, like he's not really proven wrong. Like he's obviously how he went about it is wrong, but like he does feel really similar to Doflamingo in how he once he understands, he gets a taste of how the world works, and he's like, well, I'm just gonna use this to my advantage, no matter like who I step on to achieve that end.
Yeah, and that's. You can't blame him for that, but it's still one of those things where it's like, oh no. And somehow, I don't know how, I mean, maybe because of the gold fruit, but somehow gets 20% of the world's wealth, which is the haul that Karina is after, that no thief has been able to pull off. And again, getting more backstory of Nami and her days, and seeing this rival friend, this whole situation. A lot of fun. I love the extra texture added to her.
Yeah, the way that the movie kind of pulls the rug under you with what they choose to show and win for like the most effective, like when we first see that backstory, and it's like, oh, okay, like Karina kind of sold her out a little bit, kind of, you know, left her high and dry, and so like in the current time, it's like, okay, like, you know, she betrayed Nami before, is she gonna betray her again? And you have that question in the back of your mind, and then, you know, kind of building up to the real, like, no, that confidence in that Nami had in her came from the fact that, like, you know, she made that choice because it would allow them both to escape alive from like the pirates they'd been captured by in the past. So, and I do love so much that it is Nami is the one who's like kind of the driving force behind all of this, and kind of like having her trust and her bonds of friendship. And I thought about how we already kind of know that, like, through the fishman stuff, that like she doesn't really hold grudges like that. And
True.
so I like that that's an aspect of her character that kind of came back here, that you know, she kind of had, you know, this inherent trust in Karina when maybe she, you know, she had reason to doubt her, but, you know, she pulled through at the end.
Yeah, for sure. And it was fun to see just Karina flip flop at the end there. It's like, I'm against you guys. I like sold you out. And then there's some really good moments in here as you go through. Again, Brooke probably got my favorite laugh when they're going through the owl section. And
yes.
they're getting through because Chopper can understand. It was like, go, stop, go. And like, oh no, they're starting to look at us. Run, get out of there. And Brooke's left behind. It's like, oh no, I'm caught. And then they don't recognize him because he's, well, dead. They only recognize organic matter. And he's like,
yep.
so taken aback.
Rude.
This is
Yes.
so good. The way he yells, I'm like, oh, that's good Brooke use. And
yes, absolutely. Yeah. I really liked when they're trying to, like, you know, scale up the building with Luffy and Frankie. I feel like Frankie got like a surprisingly good amount of use during that section.
Yeah, he got him using those plungers, essentially. Him being down there with Luffy in the golden prison, you know, gave him a lot more to do. It actually was rather shocking to see him get stabbed in the back. It's like, oh geez, that's a big hit for Frankie.
Just straight up. Yeah, and you don't often see like Luffy and Frankie alone. Just like those two together. I feel like they really kind of. I feel like they had a good sense of which characters to pair with whom for what moments in this movie. Yeah,
and then you get the whole bit of like Luffy able to inspire people thanks to other people in the gold prison. Got to meet the weirdo that is Ray's Max.
Yeah, don't understand. I mean, it's very much like a, you know, like a, you know, you said that how the movie changes genres like every 30 minutes. It's like it kind of becomes a Western for like 5 seconds.
He's perfectly just weird, and it works out pretty well. And you know, it's a nice detail that like the big fan that does not cut also happens to be made of sea prism stone, so that's why Luffy can't do anything about it. But you got all these normal guys teaming up together to stop the fans so they can all get through and come up the works, because it's basically revealed that the salt water is what negates the gold. So they need to get in salt water to get rid of the gold was put on them when they first arrived. So they actually have a way of fighting back against Tesoro and not getting instantly turned into gold. So I like that there's enough details here that everything makes sense for why things are the way they are, and
definitely
have that twofold goal. And it is so satisfying to have it be like, you fell for Tesoro's trap. He was aware of this all along and knew that, you know, the Karina was working with you, and she was just setting you up, and there's no actual thing of the 20% of the gold and all that. And then all of a sudden, out comes the water because the Tommy was like, nope, we pulled reverse on you, and everybody gets dunked in the water. All the lights go out, all the glitz and glam goes away, and there really does set up like, oh, we're in the climax now. It's really good, satisfying stuff, but it also makes sense why Tesoro's so strong. He's able to make that gold golem and gets that armor for his crew. It's like, geez, he really is rough.
Yeah, I mean they explain. I think they explained it right. That it's he's awakened his devil fruit, so that's like he can just control all of the gold. I feel like we're now at that stage where like, oh, we have a new, a new canon. We have devil fruit awakenings as kind of like this. That's our way to raise the tension in movies now. Is like, oh, we introduce this character. He can also awaken his devil fruit.
Mm-hmm. And apparently, based on the One Piece wiki, people look through that flash and stuff, because when that all happens and Sora's like seems to be losing his power, he's like, oh no, I'm not gonna, like, they're taunting me, I'm not gonna let that happen, I'm gonna take all the gold to make this giant golem. He has these flashes to that backstory, which you basically get the idea of, where he enjoyed singing. His mother hated it, but he fell in love with this girl named Stella who was set to be sold into slavery. But he wanted to work and buy her freedom. But then she got the attention of a world noble. She gets taken away, and she's just like, well, thank you for giving me happiness. And she's smiling as he goes away. And then he ends up as a slave and has to find a way to get out. And according to the wiki, they interpret it as Fisher Tiger's attack is what allowed him to escape as well.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And then there's the whole, apparently he somehow got his devil fruit from the Don Quixote pirates. So that's some interesting texture that it's not outright said. I don't know if it's even true, but I'm guessing that people slowed down the flashbacks and just took a look at what
just kind of really picked through it. Yeah, because they really do just like, bam, they just speed run right through it, which I do think, I respect that decision, because it's like, it doesn't fundamentally change your understanding of Tesoro as a character, so I feel like you don't need to dwell on it, but it's cool to know for the fans, and I feel like it really does kind of add that extra level of integration of Tesoro as a character who is really kind of defined by and like driven by all of the horrors that we've come to know and love in the One Piece setting.
Because
that's cool.
Your Luffy development is exactly what you'd expect. It's the interplay like this. It once again feels like this is Nami's movie.
Oh yeah.
In many ways, even the fact that Karina was working with him, Luffy had no idea.
That
they
also
just
great.
Send through.
Yeah, because of course you would know he's not gonna know. He had already forgotten the sort of fake plan that they'd come up with,
which I thought was a great idea for how they like break down the plan and run through it for the heist and everything like that. Also, great use of, like, we were made aware of awakened devil fruits thanks to Doflamingo. The golem is an extension of the awakened devil fruit for Tesoro. So I was like, okay, good on you, movie. That is doing the trick when it comes down to it.
That is how we escalate.
But yeah, we get. I like that it's not just the big the named villains that we have to get through. It's all of Tesoro's men are still there, and that's how you get the other people rising up and fighting back and get a little bit more of that Dressrosa edge to it.
Definitely just a bit.
And it doesn't take away it's not really that much of a focus. It's just enough there to give it texture.
I do really like. Again, we've seen so many of these movies at this point, so I feel like it is difficult to make kind of like the final like fight pairings interesting, and that was something I was a little bit kind of underwhelmed by with Z. For as good as that movie is, it does feel like, all right, here's Zoro's fight, here's Sanji's fight, and they're lavishly, gorgeously animated, but narratively are just kind of like obligatory, I guess, is kind of how it feels. This in Gold, I kind of really much prefer this approach, where like you're kind of the Straw Hats are kind of teaming up. It's kind of, like a 2v1, 3v1 in the case of Usopp, Chopper, and Brook. Seeing Robin and Sanji team up is great. And Zoro's is definitely the most like formulaic, but it helps that Dice is just kind of a freak.
Yeah, he's just enjoying every bit of it, and he's like, you like pain? Enjoy this, and you get like the way that Zoro uses his swords and so forth. It's fun spectacle in that way, and again, Dice is a freak.
I love that part where Zoro because like there's a bit where Dice like takes Zoro's swords and starts using them against him, but like Zoro's like he blocks his own swords with haki, which I thought was so sick.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Then he uses this haki on his sword to get it back, and great use of that. And again, just such a weirdo to fight where he's even as he's getting knocked out, he's like in just pure ecstasy. He's like that's a unique character type.
It is. Yeah.
I like the idea. Like, I was happy that Robin got a more main fight. Like, she's the reason they were able to lock down the guy able to phase through walls, because he can only phase through inorganic matter. So what she do? Wrap him completely up. And the only reason she had to, like, she was keeping her powers under wraps, so he didn't know that she was able to do that. She had to reveal it to save Nami and Karina from being crushed by Tesoro, before, as well as with Luffy in the save. So, which is also another great moment. So
also that one short little bit where like they had kind of stolen all the Celestial Dragons outfits and were pretending to be Celestial Dragons. Robin in the suit with the sunglasses, A+.
Yeah,
A+.
Yeah. I love that she's more bodyguardish while Sanji gets the the armor. Usopp being the guy with doing the little visual tics, and then the friggin' Chopper dressing up as the panda.
Yeah. Again, there's so many good ideas in this movie.
Yes.
So character driven. Just good visual gags.
It's just enough to get you through it, and it's like just something a little different each time. I think that's the other big thing with that. It's you're always getting something a little.
There's always something new.
Yeah, never quite know exactly which way they're going to go, and a lot of that comes down to like you haven't really mentioned it, but they get quite a few outfits during this.
Yeah. Like so many outfits.
Their outfits when they first arrive are so wacky. Like, why is Luffy carrying a giant axe and is dressed up as like a Japanese guy? I don't know.
They knew they were going to use it for 5 minutes. It's like, let's just get weird with it.
Chopper's dressed up as a monkey for no apparent reason. Nami,
what were they doing?
Well, that's the thing. Apparently, we're going to be talking about it in the next bonus episode, because in the previous bonus episode that we did, it was the Silver Mine arc. The next one we're going to do, because there's a lot of lead up to this movie, is the Heart of Gold special, and then episode 0. And episode 0 is really just them hanging out until they arrive at Grand Tesoro. And that I experienced this a while ago, because I just happened to pop up and I'm like, what the heck? And it's just Nami and Robin playing volleyball in their swimsuits, where they were really enjoying animating Nami and Robin.
I was gonna say, I remember this bikini designs looked familiar for a reason. That's not Robin's character to me. I don't love it, but again, it was in the movie for like just like 3 minutes. I don't care.
Yeah,
it's just one of those, like, it stands out.
it is so minor in the grand scheme of things, and honestly, compared to some other movies, they don't get leered at nearly as often. I think the creators really enjoyed all the other girls they got to draw.
Yeah,
I think they really enjoyed drawing Baccarat.
I feel like she got the most. Yeah.
That was definitely it. Their white clothes, their VIP outfits. Love the dribble, the VIP outfits on that.
Those are great. Those are like Luffy with the sunglasses. Is like, oh man,
that's good stuff. Honestly, I think the one who got the best drip is Brook.
Yes, yeah, yeah. They had so much fun with Brooke in this movie.
Oh, it's so good. And then you got their final like thief outfits, which is so great.
Like I Frankie looks like he's about to rob a bank.
That's so good.
Like he's just got like he's just got the mask and the bullets right. Oh god, it's just oh man.
It's fun. It's just such a fun idea. And actually, thinking about Karina, we got a kind of a horrifying scene much earlier on to like just a wonderful way of introducing the threat of Tesoro and how crazy this dude is.
Yeah.
Where the guy is like, he's hanging at a party and this drunk guy laughs before him. And so he freaking just kills him, suffocates him. Like,
yes,
in Gold, you can see his body writhing. And he starts laughing about it as everybody else is horrified. It's like, oh, God.
Yeah. And the fact that ended up coming back to the, that was sort of to introduce the fact that he doesn't like kind of being laughed at, or like he doesn't like not being the most important guy in the room. And so, you know, he kind of has this trigger that like, he doesn't like, you know, you only laugh when I say laugh. And so when they were all kind of, you know, like, we pulled one on you, and he just doesn't take it well. So like I feel like it would be so easy for Tesoro to be just kind of a generic movie villain. And he kind of is, but like he has these kind of little things where if you look a little bit deeper, like he is kind of a fascinating character in his own right.
Yeah, he really is.
It's a tough act to follow after Z, who got like, you know, like Z is, you know, still probably the best, one of the best. But I feel like that they did what they could with what time they had, and I feel like there's a lot of really effective storytelling with how they build up this character, and I feel like that's an aspect of most of the modern One Piece movies I really like, is that, you know, they use this time mostly to like focus on making a really interesting villain with a really interesting theme and a really interesting setting. So yeah.
Something I was looking through the Wikipedia and the trivia section, and something I didn't realize, we missed a bunch of cameo appearances on this one.
Oh, really?
Apparently, I don't know. They don't say where. They just say that they're in there. But Papagoo, the little starfish dude, he's in the movie. Yeah. Heracles is in the movie. And then Gadatsu from Skypiea.
Oh my God.
Is in the movie. And I'm like, where were they at? I completely missed them.
Oh man. That's one thing, not to, we'll get to it when we get to it. Stampede, the next movie, is like Cameo City. It is nice. A movie designed for deep cuts, and I feel like we're gonna have a lot of fun diving into all the minutia. I was already surprised, like I'd completely forgotten about Wanze and Absalom. I'd forgotten about those cameos. The fact that there were even more in there is really interesting. That's great. Those are great. Those are great movie pulls.
That's just a fun idea.
Yeah.
But yeah, as far as the final Luffy's final fight, no surprise, Gear 4 comes out.
Gear 4, of course.
Pretty solid representation of Gear 4.
Yeah, I mean that's cool, right? Because that's, you know, as far as we're concerned, like it's kind of our first time seeing, you know, Gear 4 in animation, and like I like that, you know, because we are kind of coming off of Dressrosa, where when we saw Gear 4, it was just kind of over, right? Like, you know, other than, you know, kind of needing the time limit, right? Like you were seeing, once Gear 4 comes out, Luffy is just completely overwhelming Doflamingo, and I feel like it is kind of similar here, as like it's the finisher, but like it does still take a little bit to get there, but it is not so much of a struggle that it kind of undermines it either. So it feels like with just Luffy basically fighting a giant gold mech, like it is. I feel like sort of the action and the threat level, like it doesn't feel too out of step with where he is right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it didn't feel like it felt like an appropriate use of Gear 4. Like they found a way to
Yeah.
really make Tesoro feel overwhelmingly powerful
Yeah.
in that way. So I certainly enjoyed that. Made for a nice big finish moment that you'd expect out of this. Although again, according to the One Piece wiki trivia here, says although Oda was the executive producer, he also collaborated on the script, but only specifically the film's climax. He drew over 30 pages of storyboard for the last 10 minutes of the movie because he wasn't satisfied with the original version of the script, and they had to redraw a new one for the movie using Oda's parallel intake when it came to Nami as Luffy, Tesoro, Nami, and Stella. So
Interesting.
Oda was like he wanted to flesh it out a little bit more than what they had originally. So. And that is solid. Like it has that those memories as he's being knocked out and so forth. So good stuff there all around. But then after he's beaten, the countdown begins. We have a countdown time before everything explodes. People have 90 seconds to get off that massive city onto ships to evacuate. Somehow they pull it off. That might be the most unrealistic thing in the entire movie, that place evacuates in less than 90 seconds.
I guess that's why we needed the Buster call.
I guess so. And then turns out to be a trick by Karina, who takes it all. And I love how at the very end, rather than going after the girl who just kidnapped stole an entire city, the Navy focuses on trying to capture the Straw Hats, and that's how we get our credits.
Of course. Yep. I love that there's just like that one last little getaway, right? Like she she had to pull a fast one on us right to the very end, and I love that final, like that send off with Nami, kind of that final little letter too, like the way that it all just kind of wraps up in a neat little bow. Like it's a nice little story.
Yeah, and you get extra layers from her and Karina's story as it goes on, where she's like, if she hadn't done this, I wouldn't have survived, and it all worked out, and it could do this. And he explains why she didn't hold a grudge or anything like that. She was paying back and so forth. So it made sense. It absolutely made sense. So yeah, I mean, it definitely was. It's a very enjoyable movie. I really had fun with this one. I think I'd put it above Strong World. It's definitely not above Z, but I think I'd put it above Strong World.
I was right even before we recorded, and I think traditionally, I think that's where I've always placed Gold. Is I've always liked it more than Strong World, but not as much as Z. And personally for me, Z and Red are tied for my second favorite One Piece movie. Of course, Baron no Matsuri still my number one.
Right. Baron no Matsuri.
But
sense.
Like as far as the modern movies go, I think Z and Red are the best ones. But like I was kind of like, man, it is there. Like I didn't want to oversell Gold, but I didn't want to undersell it either. Because I never thought it was bad. It just I think it's a weird thing to be like, this one's good but not as good, but that doesn't mean it's bad. That's still a really, there's a lot that I think that, like, even if I prefer Z overall, I think the setting and the sense of adventure and sort of maybe the overall whole package is maybe a little more even, but like I prefer Z's really high highs.
Yeah. I like how Gold just changes things up as far as genre constantly.
It really does. It makes me wonder how many ideas they left on the cutting room floor, because this movie is packed with so many ideas as it is.
They could have honestly spent even more time showing the Straw Hats winning at all the gambling stuff. But
and I would have watched it.
Yeah, it would have been fun.
It's fun. Yeah.
Seeing all the other stuff they do also works out. So it just ended up so enjoyable. I decided to look up like the actor for Tesoro in Japanese, Kazuhiro Yamaji. And I'm not super familiar with a lot of his like anime stuff. Like I recognize the animes he's in, but it's not like something like, oh yeah, that character. I have trouble with that. However, his video game stuff is crazy. So, and he's done a lot of live action stuff as well. He's been around. He's the voice of Sid in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and just 7 in general. Whenever that character shows up. He is, let's see, in Street Fighter V, he's G, the president of the world. Dragon Ball Fighters, he's Hit. He's the voice of Hit.
Oh, just in Fighters?
I think it's probably all.
I would assume.
It's probably all.
Yeah, I would assume
so
it's
I just
Super
missed
all overall.
the anime series for it. But yeah, Dragon Ball Super, he's Hit. So there gives you an idea for that one. And the Yakuza series, he's Makoto Date. I've only played Zero, and it doesn't look like he's in that one, so I'm not 100% sure on that one. He apparently in live action, he's always the dub of he commonly dubs Jason Statham and Hugh Jackman and Russell Crowe.
Sure, that's great. Sure, why not?
So he is quite the lineup behind himself. Now, I remember you say I didn't notice it too much because I remember there being another Who is the actress we had trouble with before? There was like a guest actress for one of the movies, and we found that she wasn't that great. Was that in Strong World or was that in Z? Because there was definitely one that stood out. I was like, she's not that great.
Yeah.
And I usually have a hard time telling if a Japanese actor is not great, but I didn't notice it as much with Karina's, which is apparently Hikari Mitsushima.
That was a standout point for me, and I was wondering, like, I didn't like her performance at all. You know, we both watched the Japanese version. I thought it was just kind of super stilted and not really. So I was thinking like, oh, did they just like cast a celebrity or like somebody who's not really good at acting? I think what it might be for me, because it turns out that Mitsushima is like mostly a film person and she's had like a J-pop career and stuff like that. So I think it's just one of those things where like I think maybe it's a style of performance that's maybe better suited to more live action, more kind of realistic, like with all of these like classic anime, like anime voice acting, like veterans, people who have been in the game for like 40 years at this point. She stood out as somebody who was just kind of like, oh, this is not amazing.
I wonder if she was cast because she could sing, just because that for that opening number.
I would believe.
She looking at this, I don't recognize a ton of stuff, but she was in Mary and the Witch's Flower as the red-haired witch. So she's not the only time she's voiced. That was a year later, though, after Karina, so maybe she improved. The thing that stood out to me, though, she was in the live-action Death Note movies as Light's little sister, Sayu.
Yeah, that's
fun.
How old is she?
She's
is 39.
Yeah, she's 39. So she's 85. She's the same age as me.
Oh, okay. So 2006, she would have been a teenager.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's fun. One of Baccarat seems to be kind of like, I noticed that the person who's playing them the now it's just now, not it's like Madonna. It's like, oh, that stands out as definitely somebody that's stands out a bit more. And yeah, she's a model, but has done quite a few films and TV series. So, oh gosh, she dubbed Shank in Ralph Breaks the Internet. Wreck-It Ralph.
That's great.
So that's funny. But yeah, that's some of the Japanese cast, and of course we got a bunch of big hitters for the English side as well. So it's just fun to see where they bring in extra characters and whatnot. But shout out to Kaiser Neko
Oh yeah.
Scott Frericks, for playing Narcy in this. Who's Narcy? He's the guy. He's the swordsman that Zorro fights in against the long pirates in the very beginning.
I'm gonna have to check that scene dubbed now. That's so funny.
Yeah, good for him. I mean, it's a small role, but hey, he got to be in it. That's a fun.
Yeah, idea. And that's That's a DBZ Bridge was still going back then, right? Because this was 2016.
Yes, released in States
I think it was a little bit
early 2017. So
that tracks. Yeah,
still around there. This is the first theatrically released One Piece movie in the States.
Yes, I saw it in theaters actually.
Oh, nice. How was that theater going experience? Was it a big crowd?
It's funny. I remember feeling decently sized. This was still around the time where like anime movies were getting more widespread, but not quite there yet. It's very funny because like I can track this through my college experience as we had to drive shorter and shorter trips to find a theater for whatever One Piece or for whatever anime movie we're trying to see, so like, if I wanted to watch like Madoka Magica Rebellion, it'd be like, that's a 2-hour drive. Film Gold a couple years later, only an hour away, so we were making some progress. And I think that was dubbed too. I remember
yeah, I think this was dubbed, so
yeah, I remember God, sorry, my brain's farting. Like being kind of like the gap. I think it was not a very long gap between the Japanese release and the U.S. release. I want to say.
I think looking at the Wikipedia, it looks like a 5 months. It came out in December in Japan, May in the U.S.
That makes sense. Like relative to Film Z, which the first time I watched that movie was a cam rip, and I don't think I watched it like on a disc until like a year later.
Yeah. Fair.
So we're making progress. We're making progress. I feel like 5 months sounds long now, but back in like 2017, I was like, oh wow, we don't have to wait that long.
That's still pretty quick. So we take that.
Yeah, I think Stampede would probably be when the gap was like maybe a month or two.
I could see that.
Not quite there yet.
Yeah, getting there, but yeah, just a fun time. Nice bit of sauce on occasion, depending on for when it comes to Tesoro. Love the extra details. It's like, here, let's break down how this whole country, this whole city on sea works. Fun stuff like that, and it'll be a little bit till we get back to movies again, because this came out in 2016 in Japan. The next movie, Stampede, came out in 2019.
Yes. Yep.
So,
yep.
And I remember there being since Stampede did come out in theaters, there were discussions about it and whatnot. Yeah. I just didn't watch it, but the main thing I heard from it is that it's good, but it seems like it's mostly focused on action.
Yeah, but it's got some of the best. Well, I was going to say some of the best like action animation, but the anime at that point was already kind of raising the bar constantly. That is a visual treat. I wonder how long of a podcast episode that will be.
Oh boy.
And I don't know. I actually don't know if there's any supplemental material at all for Stampede. I genuinely don't know.
It is 20 minutes shorter than Gold. So there's that as well. So it's definitely not as much. And as far as like tie-in material, just doing a quick glance through, no, there's apparently something called the Cedra Guild arc, but that's it.
Okay. I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
Well, and the thing is that not to we'll get into it when we get into it way later. There's very clearly a thing about Stampede that's like, I could see that this could be the thing that they decide to extrapolate on to make like a filler arc about. That is kind of like, okay, here's the setup and then go. So I'll wonder if that's the kind of thing that they'll extrapolate on. I'm really curious because I think based on timing, we did like, kind of like how Strong World introduced, like Strong World had canon stuff in it, even though it wasn't canon, and Z had canon reveals, even though the story itself is not canon. Stampede has a thing in it that I'm really like. I think based on the timing, it's I want to say it's weeks apart from something that the manga reveals, and I'm like,
there isn't.
I don't know if it's
too
first
major
or not.
that Gold reveals, other than just hey, here's Lucci doing stuff.
Because we hadn't seen him his time skip design. Spoilers, he's the same.
Not fully. He's been in shadow or set up, but now he's like his beard got extended a bit.
That's really it. That's a yay.
Yeah.
Well, and I guess we hadn't seen Spandam's time skip design either, and he's
true.
He's CP0, he's all white and gold and all of that. But yeah, not a big deal. Yeah, Stampede has something that I think is either going to be really confusing if the movie reveals it first, or if the manga reveals it first. I'm gonna double check after we're done recording because I feel like it's really close. So that'll be fun.
Yeah. But it's definitely has been one of our shorter episodes in a long time. But for a movie, the fact that we hit an hour in our movie is still actually pretty impressive.
Yeah, no, there was stuff to talk about here. This was a fun discussion. I'm glad we both had a good time with Gold.
Yeah,
it's a good movie. It's a good movie.
Absolutely. So yeah, with that, I believe we've said all we've wanted to say about One Piece film Gold. Thank you so much for listening, and you can find more of my ramblings and stream VODs over at BitNerd Games on YouTube, or simply BitNerd on BlueSky. And Brandon, where can everyone find you at?
I am Brandon Bovia on Twitter and BlueSky, talking about anime, manga, games, and my job. And just been doing more of that. Of course, always excited to talk about more One Piece.
Always. So yeah, if you'd like to help us out more, you can support the podcast over at patreon.com/Derrick Bittner. That's DerrickBitner to listen to the next episode ad-free 3 days early, as well as patron-exclusive bonus episodes. Again, we talked the bonus episode before this. We talked about the Silver Mine arc, which is the anime lead-in to this. Our next bonus episode is going to be talking about episode 0 and the what's it called? The
Heart of Gold.
Heart of Gold special.
Yeah.
How they tie into this, because it's only a very minor tie-in for Silver Mine, but we'll find out. We will find out.
Yeah, and go check out our other, like, I guess so we're just gonna put like the movie filler lead-ins, as bonus episodes on Patreon. So if you've been kind of like listening to those, you'll know how much we suffered through the Z filler, and relative to that, the Silver Mine arc, not bad.
Yeah,
not bad, not bad. Great, but not bad.
Yeah. And make sure to return next time as we return to the manga to discuss chapters 836 to 840 of One Piece. So until then, my friends, bye.
Remember to take life one piece at a time.
Stealing from this crew was a big mistake. We'll take back Zoro and then have our revenge.